Formula 1 returns to Singapore for round 18 of the 2020 season, and with the Constructors' Championship now all wrapped up and won for the first time ever by Toyota, all attention now for all the teams and fans turns to the championship fight in the drivers between Lewis Hamilton in the Toyota and Josh Tiro in the Alfa Romeo. Now the Singapore circuit here often historically has played to the strengths of Josh Tiro, and knowing that Toyota focus most of their efforts on race pace, knowing that they haven't got the best aero and chassis on the grid, and then the race will be more of a damage limitation race, with Lewis Hamilton aiming to finish on the podium at worst. Renault though have been on the up so far this season, and with a significant improvement over their last car from 2019, they're expecting a strong end to the season and try and close the gap to Alfa Romeo for second place in the Constructors' Championship. Alfa Romeo were expecting a good showing once again from Josh Tiro, who's always gone well around the circuit after taking his first win here in 2014 in Marussia. The Italian outfit are focusing most on race pace, and they're knowing that going over for one lap isn't going to be the strategy that wins this race. And Red Bull though were also eyeing up a possible victory. This car has often played to the strengths of the Red Bull cars in the past as well. Nothing more red line here, and Verstappen's aiming to stand on the top step of the podium come race day on Sunday. Hey guys, Renault here. Welcome back to Formula 1. Here for the Singapore Grand Prix. The last of the night races here on the 2020 calendar. And you can get a first look here at the starting grid. And as you can see, it's a Toyota there on pole position with Red Bull there on the front row. So all the top cars once again, even on a challenging cycle like this, mixing up towards the front. And Pierre Gasly continuing his good qualifying form of late starting P12 inside the points for AlphaTauri. And they've really been coming on well, AlphaTauri as a whole, towards the end of the year with Seti Camera getting some mega points hauls. Now looking at the starting grid for this race, and it's Toyota on pole, but it's Matsushita who takes pole position and 3 points to go with it. He's joined on the front row by Max Verstappen in the Red Bull, with ourselves starting P3 in the Alfa Romeo. Esteban Ocon with a very good lap starts 4th place as the leader of the Renaults, ahead of Mick Schumacher, who's been ever impressive so far in qualifying this year with that Williams Honda, ahead of the other Honda powered Red Bull of Alex Albon. And the other teammate Kevin Magnussen starting from P8, with Hulkenberg in 8th place. Lewis Hamilton all the way down in P9, really couldn't get a lap together in Q3, with Daniel Kvyat scraping through into Q3. Starts P10 in the Mercedes. And just outside the top 10, starting on the harder combiner tyres, are Lando Norris and Pierre Gasly, as you saw, on 11th and 12th. There comes the lead Ferrari, Sebastian Vettel P13 on the hard tyres, along with the driving shares, Rove 7th the grid with George Russell. Then we have the other AlphaTauri Sergio Seti Camera ahead of the other Ferrari Charles Leclerc. Ahead of the second McLaren's of Rio Haryanto. Sergio Perez only in 18th place as the lead of the Aston Martins. And it's going to be an all-Canadian back row with Nicholas Latifi in P19 and Lance Stroll bringing up the rear, and both of them starting on the medium compounded tyres. Now everyone outside the top 10 will be looking to do one less stop in this race, and because this track is notoriously hard to overtake on, only being 2 or 3 opportunities, and that's really, if you look, it's only the DRS straights, so there's really only 2 guaranteed to be overtake places. Then track position around here really does matter, and some of those midfield cars could be looking to try to scrape some high points places come the end of the 36 laps I think there is in this race. Now waiting here on the grid for the back row of cars to line up. Coming to the 5 red lights, the start of the Singapore Grand Prix. Lights out and away we go. Looks like it's going to be a really good start there for Max Verstappen. He's going to try and take the lead now into turn 1 from Matsushita. There's a lot of movement there going around the back, but Matsushita gets a good secondary launch and keeps side by side. We just managed to squeeze around the other Williams there, just about managed to keep ourselves in P3. That was absolutely critical for us. We really needed that. We couldn't afford to be stuck behind Williams' car. The shimmy, we know he's one of the fastest drivers on the grid, but the Williams car, yeah, it's a pretty decent car, but it's not up here with the likes of the Alphas, the Toyota, the Red Bull or the Renault. Now she's trying to keep it there with Ocon, but just loses out there. Now we've got our teammate Kevin Magnussen doing side by side now. It's Albon now goes for a massive dive, going to give a dive on the inside line of the Williams there as well. Going to keep it side by side with Mick Schumacher, and she was going to try and fight back now into the next corner, keeping it side by side still, but Albon there with the outside line, test the inside line for the next corner. Albon with a really nice move. And apologies if you're seeing like any like little jumps and freezes, that's actually on the footage when I was recording this after race. I don't really know why I did it around here, but I think it happened last year as well. For some reason, the Singapore circuit and my computer just really don't get along all too well. I think it's okay from the onboard footage like this, but just a few little things here and there on the replay. Anyway, so it's still the top 3, the top 4 actually are still all the same. You've got Verstappen there keeping right behind Massachusetts. He's definitely keeping the Japanese driver on. It's there. Still yet to win a race for Toyota. necessarily get to win a race at all. Actually, he's definitely had a very good season in his first full season for Formula 1, thrown straight into the deep end, though, being at the top team and also being teammates to Lewis Hamilton. So, might not have got that all the all-elusive race win, but he's definitely had a very good debut full season in F1, and I think gone above and beyond expectations, really. The top tier really are pulling away, because in Alfa Romeo, it takes a few laps to get the tyres up to temperature, so that's even more critical when we manage to hold our starting position. Back up front now, looking at that lead battle, as Matsushita now leads over the line to end lap 1 on start of lap 2. Of course, no DRS yet, that won't be activated until start of the next lap. Of course, there's going to be a little bit of internal pride, national pride going on here, with Red Bull with their Honda engines chasing down a works Toyota car. And it's definitely going to be, that's why the national pride at stake. And ever since Toyota came back into F1, they've really had the upper hand over when McLaren were powered by the Honda engines. But since they moved to Red Bull, Honda have really come on leaps and bounds. It's still not quite enough to beat out Toyota, especially not in this season anyway, because Toyota, they had the better car overall, even if the air on that isn't up to what the Red Bull and the chassis would be. On to lap 4, things have still pretty much remained the same up front, still Matsushita leading the way, but Matsushita really is actually starting to hold us up now. We've caught back up to the back now of Max Verstappen, and you can just tell the Dutchman just itching to get past that Toyota. They give a little bit of hot air at the moment, not intentional, but we managed to get away with it. So I think you usually get about 2, I'll say corner cut tokens really throughout the race. You get 2 little ones before you get a penalty, so that's one of them needs now on lap 5. So ideally, I would probably want to say that for later on when Matsushita has to go defensively, a bit of a lock on there, so the Jackie Jar are really feeling the pressure now, feeling the presence of the Dutchman. Just think, if you had a better car at the start of the season, would obviously, I think no doubt, would be in this championship fight. But Red Bull does have this trend where they always start really slow, but end the season with one of, if not the best car, or it goes the other way. They start really good and then just drop off the face of the earth. They can never really just maintain a constant challenge ever since this V6 hybrid era began back in 2014. Matsushita once again having to go extremely defensive now. All about now for Verstappen. He's been held up to go for a dive on the inside line. The Dutchman, they're catching Dapping side by side. We're going to try and force Verstappen out wide. We managed to move away past now into second place, past the Dutchman. And also, if you notice on the left, where the little displays of the names, we've got the purple border around the neck, because we've currently got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as well. And now, because we're on lap 5, the tyres are really started coming now into the working temperature. That's why we never really. We've got a few poles this season so far, but then you get your warm-up lap on your tyres first. So yeah, that's why we always drop off a little bit at the start. And now we're on hard cut there onto lap 6, the next lap of the race. And now we've got the DRS now on the back of Matsushita going down to Rich Mix as well. We need some of this good Ferrari power. This engine is so good. It's not good as the Toyota, it's good enough when you got switching. Matsushita goes defensive, going to try and get around the outside line, pinching out his apex. We go run out, you get forced off the track though. Keeping someone side shades of Webber and Hamilton from 2010. We're keeping it on the inside line. We're going to force Matsushita wide. Now we take the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix. That is exactly what we need out of that, because I have absolutely no idea where Lewis Hamilton is. I know he's not in the top 4. I don't know if he made any progress from P9. But if, with ourselves in first, Hamilton in 9, that's going to be like a 15-6, as things stand, like a 15 or 16 point swing in our favour, which will bring the championship fight down to about 5 or so points, because there's still another 25 laps of this race left to go. We know Lewis Hamilton is not going to stay in P9. He may have had a mare in qualifying, but it's not going to stay like that for the rest of the race. I can pretty much guarantee that. And a second down now on our best lap. These soft tyres, they ain't it. Because they just wear, so there's so many corners around the track, you just put so much energy through the tyres, especially the rear tyres. They just wear so quickly, but because, again, with being so many corners on this track, the softer compounds, they do give you a significant lap time advantage. It just depends, can you make up that extra pit stop time? And in 6 laps, I don't really think we can, but we see how much all your teammates from Matsushita and the Toyota cars are really have been struggling so far this season with tyre wear, but now we're going to carry on now for another lap. And the pit lane battle between Matsushita and Verstappen will be between the Toyota and the Red Bull pit crews now. We're seeing back at the start of the season, I think back to Brazil, I think it was in the 2nd or 3rd round of the season, where the Toyotas both had to do an extra pit stop. Hamilton still won the race because he had such a pace advantage that race. But the Toyota guys had to do an extra stop to all the top cars around them, and now Verstappen managed to get through because Matsushita's been held there in the pit box. They really pulled out there from Toyota. It's all going wrong now for Toyota. Here comes a look at this stream of cars. Every other car in this race who started outside the top 10 is coming straight past everyone here now. This is another reason why I want to stay out for another lap, because they're going to come out all in the mess of this battle with the AlphaTauris, the Ferraris, Aston Martins and all that. And with ourselves now staying out for another lap, we're going to clear a little bit more effect of those cars. Now we're trying to pick with that box now. At the end of this lap, I really don't want to get stuck behind this guy. We always said we want to bounce out of the pit lane, but managed to get ourselves back in. And thankfully, we also don't get a penalty for that. I think we made it around the commitment cone first, so we managed to come in. And we've got Alex Albon there, and the other Red Bull coming in behind. No, I would say it's a pit lane battle. Unless our stop goes horrifically wrong, then we should rejoin in front of the tyre driver. It's going to be a set of medium tyres now for ourselves, and we're going to another set of mediums later in the race. Unless this is like a safety car at some point, maybe say a hard, but the plan is for another set of mediums later on. And now the question is which and how many midfield cars are we going to join around? I think I just saw a Ferrari there go through, so we're pretty near the back of this queue of cars. And now we rejoin now on track ahead there. One of the runners actually, Esteban Ocon, has actually come out of nowhere. Where did Ocon come from? He only made an earlier stop, and he's just gained a lot of time there. Now he's going to another set of the soft tyres, so yeah, that's probably why he's going so quickly. But now on to lap 9, we're behind the back now of the Aston Martin of Sergio Perez. But came back now into Formula 1 at start of this year, getting side by side behind us, and Charles Leclerc doing battle there with the car. You could see from the camera angle which car is now against Thomas Hanna with the Mexican driver. We just get forced out though. And Leclerc manages to hold that position as well. In P10 on the hard tyres, he's going to be going a lot longer in this race now. There's yellow flags out, so there's not seeing anything for us. The car going slowly. He's out the Renault. I think it's one where they're playing off. I think it's the Renault Esteban Ocon. It's such a good pace on the soft tyres. He was absolutely flying, but now it's like his car is getting up the race. I mean, it is pretty hot around here at Singapore, and the Renault's reliability has been pretty marginal the past few races, and getting towards the end of the season here as well. No, either side. Oh, I would not want to be Ocon right then. I mean, having to part the seas already of the Williams and the Toyota car. But now Ocon out of the race, and it's disappointing with all their fourth range, of course. He had such a good qualifying in P4 as well. I really think he could have been an outside shot for at least a podium in this race. But now we're still all over the back now. Then off Sergio Perez, we pull Star Wars with him, missing out the final corner. We've got so much more grip on our fresher tyres, and with our better car, but Aston's got such a good straight line speed advantage as well, because it is a really low drag car. And this Sergio pretty much like the Toyotas, I think more to an extent there with the Aston Martin really isn't going to be suited to this track. Of course, the chassis of the car is what the Haas car would have had for this year, so I don't think they've already been at a permanent disadvantage already with that all season. And now then pulling side by side once again with Sergio Perez. Going to do it now. We've got DRS still. In side by side, he's the after traction. Going to force away on the inside line. Going to force Mexican to go to the inside now. Going to get him under braking. Going to get late on the brakes with our fresher tyres. Going to sweep it around the outside line. Also, now that is exactly what we need to put more cars between ourselves and the people we're fighting. I mean, Max Verstappen is now going side by side behind with one of the Toyotas there. Can't quite say that if that's Matsushita or if it's Lewis Hamilton, but he's side by side, and Toyota's going to keep it over Verstappen. Then keeps it around the outside line, keeps his foot in. You know, Verstappen's never going to give up in a fight. And now through here, and now the Singapore sling's gone, and they managed to keep it through here side by side. If it's still a Singapore sling, they would have better just launched over the coast and probably would have been out of the race. And you've got the other rebel of Alex Albon there right down, so Albon bringing himself right into play now in this race, especially with this massive traffic jam of all the midfield cars that yet to actually stop in this race. And I'm moving further on, we're now behind the other Williams. They have Nicholas Latifi, of course, started down in P19. Now he moved to the inside line. The Canadian is going to go for a switch to the inside, because we know Latifi wanted to go there to the inside. He's going to try and block it now. 3-1, the Canadian managed to hold on to that place. Now we're going to sweep around the outside line, trying to do what we did to Perez. He's going to squeeze once again, almost squeezed into the wall, because these points mean prizes in this race. And I'll keep it side by side, because all these midfield cars all have a shot at points, because all these cars have all got to stop one more time. So whoever's leading this race right now is actually the race leader. And this is all for position, so Latifi is absolutely every right to fight us. And once again he goes to the inside line, he can try and squeeze around the outside line. Other once again, Nikita Salazar going to get forced off the track there once again. Everyone just wants to force me off the track today, it seems. But we keep this forcing, keep up this is exactly what we need. I'm not wasting any opportunities. We've been handed a silver platter really by Hamilton starting down in P9. We've got a massive opportunity now to gain a load of points back in the championship fight. Now they're on to lap 12 now. We're behind the Brazilian Sergio Sete Câmara. I'm sure all of Brazil will be cheering for, because they haven't had a Brazilian F1 before this season since Felipe Massa retired at the end of the 2015 season. So they had a little bit of a 5-year gap, but Sergio Sete Câmara, of course, the reigning F2 champion from 2019, so yeah, he's definitely no slouch. We just managed to keep enough of a car on the curbing, it seems, and now Sete Câmara now comes into the pit. I think that's a good call, actually, because the Brazilians, he was going to lose time, and we either trying to hold us back, or when we got past the so AlphaTauri made the right call to pull him in now. Of course, because AlphaTauri are in the fight with the other A-named car, Aston Martin, for P9 in the constructors. Of course, because AlphaTauri, they're also funded by Red Bull, so there's no worry of them going under, but any money Red Bull can save by getting it from the prize money from the FOM, from finishing in 9th place in the championship. I'm pretty sure Red Bull, they are going to say no to keeping a bit of money to possibly spend on their own car before the budget cap comes in for 2022. And you've got Latifi there on a set of hard sides, and I imagine Sergio Sete Câmara did the same there as well. And the hard sides, actually, they suit the delivery at least really well of that car. Now back into P5, you've got Max Verstappen still as the car full position. I'll right it down because now Verstappen managed to catch us back up again. Because we saw before the pit stops, we put about maybe a second or two gap on him, but we're still being stuck here behind the Ferrari and the Mercedes, and then there's a few further cars up the road. Can't quite see who they are though from there. I think there's Bullets. I think one of them is Pierre Gasly, and I couldn't quite see what the other one was. Now trying to go in the outside line of 5-time champion Sebastian Vettel. That Ferrari car's been absolutely dogged so far this year. We've got the same engine though as that Ferrari, but the Ferrari seems to be quite draggy. Now we're going to try and go around the outside line of Sebastian Vettel now into the corner, and Vettel goes very late on the brakes because you don't want to go for a switchback line though. The switchback and dream side by side with our fresher tyres and try to make the move on Sebastian Vettel, giving even plenty of room, giving plenty of respect as well to the 5-time champion. He knows a thing or two about how to drive a Formula 1 car. Just the car he's stuck with for this year isn't exactly the best in the world. Now Verstappen can try and go around the outside line as well, under the tunnel. This is a no through there before the brilliant move from Max Verstappen. Just finding new places to overtake. This is what I mean. If Red Bull had a good car to start the season with Verstappen, he'd be so in this title fight. If he can carry this momentum forward for next year, then there's every chance they could be in it then as well. Now we're pretty much pushing the Mercedes here through the final corner. Now we've got the run now with the DRS and the slingshot going to go around the outside line of George Russell, our fellow Brit now into tail one. So he's making me make the move stick on George Russell, the 2018 F2 champion. The F2 champions really are fighting it out at the front. Albeit on a technicality, but still, they've proved they can be up here and fight it with the best drivers in Formula 1, myself, Verstappen, Vettel and all that. Now we pulled, so look at the gap we've already pulled to that Mercedes. This shows the difference in tyre life and also in car performance. What's happening with the outside line now into the brakes, and is Russell going to try and fight it back? He's going to try and settle in here, try and keep Vettel behind him. I think and Russell there with a good job just concedes that position because he knows he's definitely not fighting the Red Bull. He's fighting the Ferrari behind him, and also in the fight for Williams, in effect for 5th place in the constructors. And now they're moving a bit further on, looking at a pit stop here then for Max Verstappen, and Red Bull then pull the trigger early there for the second round of pit stops. And there should be another set of medium tyres for the Dutchman. There could be a set of hard. If you go on a hard combat, you can't push more, but you'll be slower overall. And Red Bull, they do the smart thing, don't on the set of medium tyres. There's no really point trying something different because he's going to be on the podium at worst. On terms of right place, because you've still got to catch the other few front running cars yet. I think it was Gasly and whatever the car that was the actual leader of the races. And now then, where's Verstappen going to rejoin now onto the track? He's going to be in clear air. I'm pretty sure Red Bull will have worked out to try and get him a little bit clear air. Oh, there's Star Wars with the Alpha Tauri there. Offsetting camera, sure, Sergio can told to back off there. So Red Bull, they played that perfectly there. He knew it wasn't going to get held up by someone in the more of a sister team now than a junior team, but still a Red Bull junior driver wasn't going to get in the way of Max Verstappen. He gets a bit of DRS there, so he manages to get back a little bit of time. And they managed to work that well, maybe just a little bit off, but then again, with how close it was, coming out in front was obviously what Red Bull wanted. I'm sure they wanted to try and help Sergio count there a little bit as well, but ultimately Verstappen's gets priority in that situation. Now on to lap 20, we're sliding here all over the place. We're standing now in the lead of the race, we're still sliding here. We've got Charles Leclerc in second place because he's yet to make his actual pit stop. Of course, starting on the hard tyres, so he'll be running a lot longer in this race. He actually managed to get ourselves now into the pit lane, and Leclerc going this long now as he gets overtaken by Max Verstappen. Leclerc could actually go into a set of soft tyres now, depending on if he can get another 3 or 4 laps. And he'll be absolutely mega now. He might even be on for a top 5 finish if he can carry on doing some pace like that. Now we go into a set of the medium tyres. Again, was thinking maybe a set of softs, but there's no point in risking it. We're ahead of Hamilton. That is the main focus for this race, is just beating Lewis Hamilton. Because ever since his DNF at China, we beat him last race as well at Azerbaijan, and it looks like at the minute we could be on to do the same again around Singapore, which is honestly my strongest circuit on the calendar in terms of suiting my driving ability. You saw back in 2014, I won the race in a Marussia, a car which was about 3 to 4 seconds slower than the Mercs of 2014. But this circuit just gels so well with my style. I don't know what it is about the circuit, but I just managed to just get into the room and flow just immediately around this track. It's ourselves that lead the way from Verstappen, and then we've got Pierre Gasly going side by side with one of the McLarens. Now this is the fight for the final podium spot, and Gasly hasn't been on the podium for a while. I think he's got a few podiums before. Not quite sure though. He loses out there though to the McLaren of Lando Norris into the corner. Norris goes with a very nice defensive move to try and keep that podium place, because McLaren could do with some good points if they want to get back close to Ferrari in the fight for 7th as well, as the fight is well and truly on there as well. And the fight is well and truly on here between the Williams here of Mick Schumacher. Can't quite see who the car in front of him is though. And then we have Lewis Hamilton in the Toyota. He still hasn't really gained a whole lot of places. So as I was saying, the Toyotas really are working around the track here. I don't really know how Matsushita got pole, unless they've turned everything up to the max, maybe even a little bit beyond there as well. But the Toyotas, as of late, in this race, haven't really featured all too much, apart from the first few laps when Matsushita was leading the race. And we had the sole remaining Renault of Nico Hulkenberg, and being only one Renault left this race, it isn't really going to do anything to help their constructors fight, because we were winning anyway, so they really needed both cars to try and finish. And we got a teammate Kevin Magnussen ahead then of the lead of the Ferraris of Sebastian Vettel. And then Daniel Kvyat, in the Mercedes member, started inside the top 10, so I don't know if he's got another stop to make here, but if he has, he's going to be well down the order come the end. And then we have the other Red Bull of Alex Albon, who's lost out a little bit in the second round of pit stops. And then we have the second of the Mercedes here of George Russell, who at one point was up there in P3, put up a good fight with Sebastian Vettel, but has lost out to him as the race has gone on. Then we have Charles Leclerc, followed then by the other Williams of Mick Schumacher, is that? Or was that Latifi? I couldn't quite see which one it was earlier on. And actually now that's Mick Schumacher, so he's gone to a set of hard tyres. They're trying a one-stop by the looks of it. Looks like the tyres there really aren't working out too well. Maybe he's just set of tyres, you never know. And you've got the Aston Martin there leading the other McLaren, so a battle of the British teams here. Got to head down to there, trying to chase down now after Sergio Perez, especially since Lando Norris is so much further up the order. But he has shown up his senior teammate now. Then Harriet there with the DRS, so he can try and make a move on the Aston Martin going into the braking lane. Not close enough there to the back of Perez there to make a move. Then we have the other Aston Martin of Lance Stroll, who, to be fair to him, is actually a lot closer to the back of the pack than he's been in recent races. But now further on, we've got Nico Hulkenberg now leading a massive train of cars. I think Hulk's starting to struggle now on his tyres as well. And you've got Kim Madsen. Is he doing his now infamous late race charge through the order? Doesn't really feature for the first like 20 or so laps, but then just comes alive on low fuel. The first few corners there is not quite able there to make a move, and then we've got the Ferrari Red Bull right behind you. If you've got a Ferrari right behind you, then you know your tyre wear is pretty poor. If the Ferrari of this year is keeping up with you. And now then, can K-Mag do anything now with the DRS once again, trying to make you that Renault is a pretty good car in a straight line as well, with the much improved Renault engine over last year. Now K-Mag with the DRS, he close enough, Hulkenberg goes defensive, can try and make a little run outside, but no, Magnussen has to still settle back in line. Now he's all over the back. You can see, you can tell, although he can't get past it than me, you can just tell he's so much quicker. And would just be disappearing up the road if you get past. So like I said, with that comparison, you've got a Ferrari keeping up with you, and the Ferrari really isn't a good car so far this year. They really haven't got the error. The engine, yeah, I can't fault that. It's not quite as good as the Toyota, which probably would be the only fault. But now the hard cut onto the end of that lap, onto the start of the next one. Now got the Red Bull of Alex Albon now making a move on the Ferrari. So finally managed to find a way to get past the Ferrari there of Charles Leclerc. Now then, can our teammate K-Mag do anything to try and get past Hulkenberg once again? And then with the DRS wide open, going to try and make a move around the outside line. Now going to keep his outside line into the brake zone, and you're going to squeeze into the outside line. Then he'll take the inside line there for. And then they've got a massive time from Albon as well. Albon really good move there on the inside line, catch Hulkenberg napping. This is going to allow K-Mag to pull away a little bit. I was just about to say it could be a pretty passable rivalry because K-Mag tested for Renault in 2016 to possibly get a race seat, but then in the end lost out to Hulkenberg, so that was a pretty personal rivalry there. And now Albon was sweeping around the outside line, a brilliant move from the tyre driver once again, just showing how good the Red Bull is now towards the end of this season. And like I said, I'll say it again, it just begs the question, if Red Bull, if they could have started the season with this lightning pace, who knows whether they'll be in the constructors fight now, up here definitely with ourselves and the Toyotas. Talking about Toyotas, now looking at one of them now coming up behind the back of the AlphaTauri. So I think this is probably Lewis Hamilton now cashing onto the back of Pierre Gasly. Gasly has lost out a little bit now to Lando Norris, so they're up in front. But now Hamilton with the DRS can pull his out again, squeezed into the wall. Oh, so close there. Gasly giving absolutely no room whatsoever, but Hamilton balls of steel. I think there's more of a bin or win situation there for the Brit. And somehow he kept his foot planted there and managed to make the move there past the AlphaTauri, and that might be overtake of the season, definitely overtake of the race, maybe even the candidate for overtake of the season. There must have been, I wouldn't even say an inch of room left. I don't really know how to put it. I'll say it in the way of WTF1 with their tobacco sponsorships. There was a cigarette paper between them and the wall. That's the only way I can think to describe it, how much room there was. And now he catching now to the back of his former team, the team he started with in Formula 1 in 2007, all the way to 2012. I think back to the 2012 Grand Prix, Hamilton was leading the way in the McLaren, which then gave it all the ghost and probably was the reason why he wasn't in the championship fight anymore. He retired a lot from the lead that season. The McLaren guys didn't work for him. Now can he try and chase down the team he drove for and try and get that out onto the podium. And that's what Toyota, despite them not expecting a good result here, they were expecting a podium at worst for Hamilton. So they were still expecting there was a chance he could still win this race. And Toyota car has been an absolutely dominant force this year, as well as the constructors, with 3 races to go coming into this race. And Hamilton is not quite close with that into turn 1 to make a move on Lando Norris. We think down the straight here, he would be able to make a move stick. Now they're going to be getting now through here because, well, in general he's in a faster car and on faster tyres as well, because they're definitely going to be fresher than the tyres on Lando Norris's McLaren. And now then with the DRS, where's Hamilton going to go? So inside, outside, is he close enough to even make a move? Now he's getting on the McLaren, he's going to go to the outside. I know he's going to give him a squeeze. This is a fight here for the podium position, but Hamilton with the superior car, fresher tyres as well, and probably the superior driver as well. And Lawrence is going to try and stick it around the outside, but Hamilton just shuts the door firmly in the face of Lando Norris and moves up now onto the podium position. So it's still P4. That's still a decent effort there from Lando Norris. And of course you can't really fault Pierre Gasly behind as well. P4 and 5 in the McLaren and the AlphaTauri. And this result really could secure 9th place in the championship for AlphaTauri if Gasly can hold on to that position. Now they're on to the final lap of the race. Lap 31 of 31. We've gone purple through sector 1 and gone purple through sector 2 as well. So we're pushing now to the limits just to consolidate our superiority. We've absolutely once we got past Massachusetts and Verstappen, we just pulled away. And once we got past the midfield cars, we never look back. You can't even see Verstappen behind us. I don't think he actually come up there on the timing screen yet how far behind us he actually is. But now he's got 1 sector left to go under the tunnel here for the final time. And you've got a few cars left to go. Let's not slam it into the wall like we did back at Azerbaijan on the final lap. I'm going to keep well away from the walls there that time. And now we've got 1 corner left to go now. Coming up now to the checkpoint, going to run wide, use everything we can, push it over to the line. And we're going to cross the line now to win the Singapore Grand Prix. I don't think we've quite got another fastest lap, that doesn't matter, we already had it anyway. And that is exactly what we need to gain back another load of points on Hamilton in the championship. Could we get 21 points if we get a fastest lap still? And Lewis Hamilton gets 12, so that's going to be an 8 or 9 point gain back in our favour once again. And Fred Vasseur looking very happy with our performance. We've got 2 wins now on the bounce as well. And this one, I think it was probably one of the most undisputed wins of my career. Probably back with one of the races at Mexico, I think back in 2018 as well. Coming now onto the podium now for the trophies now. Let's see how the Singapore trophy. That's a nice trophy. It's even better when it's got the first place sticker written on it as well. And you get a nice shot there of the top 3. And it's time for the champagne. And we spray them Max Verstappen with the bubbly. I think it's Singapore. I think it's champagne here in Singapore. It might be Rosewater. Not too sure about that though. But Hamilton completing the podium. Taking a look at the end results, and we take the win by 6, just under 7 seconds from Max Verstappen, with Lewis Hamilton way behind in the end, 40 seconds behind. So me and Verstappen, we just walked away from the field in this race. Lando Norris holds on to P4, gets some really good points there for McLaren. 10 points for his efforts, and Pierre Gasly a really solid 8 points there. And also with Sergio Sette Câmara getting himself up into P6. Where's the Brazilian pulling these performances from towards the end of the season? 15 points there for AlphaTauri, and if you don't count wildcard races, that is easily the highest points haul from a single race. And Massachusetts starting on pole, finished down in 7th. Yeah, really couldn't get the tyres to work, it seems, in this race, and just managed to beat Alex Albon, but only by 4 tenths in the end. And then Nicholas Latifi from 19th to 9th, good result there for the Canadian, with our teammate Kevin Magnussen finishing in P10, but managed to stay ahead of Nico Hülkenberg, with Sebastian Vettel completing the top 12 point scorers for Ferrari. With only 2 races left to go, there's only 9 points now between ourselves and Lewis Hamilton. The championship now really is swinging in our favour. Hamilton still got the advantage, but we've got the momentum. Massachusetts is looking pretty secure now in 3rd place, although all it takes is a DNF and maybe a win for Hülkenberg, and that fight could close up once again. We've got Max Verstappen now moves up into the top 5 ahead now of our teammate Kevin Magnussen by 13 points. We have Jean-Luc Vergne in 7th place on 125. Alex Albon P8, now getting over the 100 point barrier on at 104. Then he moves 20 points clear now of the outgoing world champion Mick Schumacher is on 84, 3 points clear then of Daniel Kvyat. In the Mercedes, you have Latifi with his good haul of points, moves up now into P11 on 61 points in the second Williams. And Sebastian Vettel running off the top 12, also on 61, but by a better result, is behind Latifi. And to the constructors table, of course, Toyota is still going to be remaining at the top as they won the championship back at the last race. We have Alfa Romeo in second place now with almost 100 points clear now of Renault, so just shows the performance that Alfa have managed to pull off in the second half of the season. That good momentum we managed to carry through pretty much every single race. So we're looking pretty secure in P2, and I think Renault are all but secure now in P3 as well. So from P9 to P3 the next season, still I'm sure they'll be disappointed they couldn't get second place, but P3 is definitely not to be sniffed at. Red Bull also look pretty secure in fourth place, nearly 100 points clear of Williams, with their fight with Mercedes for fifth place in the constructors. We've got Ferrari still holding on to P7, although only 10 points clear then of McLaren. With AlphaTauri moving well clear now in terms of points down the lower end, 20 points clear now of Aston Martin, who now bring up the rear still on a respectable 51 points. So remember to leave a like if you enjoyed this race, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell. Also remember to vote for your driver of the day with the poll link that will be in the video description. Also down in the description will be a link to the wiki, which is, fan-made Wikipedia for not exactly real life stuff, and I edited that myself, and I've done so for this entire series, so back from the 2014 season all the way up to now, every team, every driver to have ever competed, so there's like 76 or 77 pages of Wikia still, so the series history. So I appreciate that if you go give that a read. So yeah, if you like, if you enjoyed, comment down below. Subscribe if you're new, hit the notification bell to start any future videos. You give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram, that would be much appreciated. There'll be a link in the description down below. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.